Michael Saylor suggests the U.S. should sell all of its gold for 5 million Bitcoin. Again, moving the Overton window. I keep saying this. Like, you guys have to understand this. Like, our job as Bitcoiners is to move the Overton window. So the idea of self-custody isn't radical. So the idea of Bitcoin isn't radical. So the idea of, individuals holding custody of their wealth isn't radical. We got to keep moving that Overton window. And the way that we do that is by saying shit like this on TV, by Trump basically saying, look, we're going to audit the Federal Reserve, by Elon Musk posting that Keynes was a great evil. And I'm referring to The Economist, right? And so, like, this is what I'm talking about, right? This is what I'm talking about. We have to move the Overton window here. Of course, Saylor being extremely bullish. And again, guys, like, if I would have told you 2 or 3 years ago where would be today, the fact that from the White House X account, they're basically saying, like, look, the U.S. is going to be the Bitcoin capital of the world. You would not have believed me. Back in 2020, if I would have told you that a country was going to make Bitcoin legal tender in 2021, you would not have believed me. So in Bitcoin terms, things happen a lot faster than people anticipate. And all you have to do is pay attention to your surroundings. Pay attention to what just happened. I mean, that meeting that Senator Lummis, that summit that happened yesterday was historic. What happened at the White House on Friday, literally just this last Friday, was absolutely historic. Like, where do you think we're going to be 4 years from now? Do you think this trend is going to stop? No, the reason that we're here is because Bitcoin has better incentives. Once you understand that, you realize that we're going to win, because all they have is a money that is essentially it requires coercion in order to function, right? It really does. Like, I don't think if people had a choice between better money and inferior money, I think most people would choose better money, and especially over the long term, that becomes more and more apparent. Bitcoin is the superior asset. Anyways, I'm going to play you guys this clip of Saylor talking about how the U.S. should sell all of its gold for Bitcoin.
I don't know what the purpose of a Bitcoin central reserve is, and I haven't seen the details of why that's important.
Bitcoin is emerging as the world's reserve capital network. People are realizing that Bitcoin is better than real estate. It's better than stocks. There's not a single company or real estate property that you would rather own for the long term than Bitcoin. So the very simple idea is buy 20 or 25% of the Bitcoin network on behalf of the U.S. government, catalyze the development of that world reserve capital network, and then let all the Chinese and the Russians and the foreigners sell all their other assets and buy Bitcoin, and then the money flows into the United States. If you want to put a great twist on it, dump your gold, sell all the U.S. gold, buy Bitcoin, then the trade is free because you could buy 5 million Bitcoin for the cost of the gold. You will demonetize the entire gold asset class, and our enemies hold gold in their banks, so their assets would go to zero. Our assets would go to $100 trillion, and we would control the world's reserve capital network.
I mean, look, also getting mixed signals too from the Rumble and YouTube chat. Apparently I'm not seeing any issues on our side at all.
Yeah, it's just on you, but I keep checking and it seems like we're good.
Yeah, and we're watching the streams on our back end. It seems like some people are good with it. Some people are just like, no, I have no idea. But it's not on our side for the first time. I mean, not first time, but usually it is on our side. But this time is not. But I will say is, again, Saylor with a masterclass response and really laying out, the case. I'm going to pass it on to David, because I know, David, that from your ideological bent, man, you're just like, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter, man. This is a revolution about the individuals. So what's your take, David, before we get to the news?
Well, Saylor's always good for some bangers, and I think that was a good example of one. And I think, Nico, you kind of said it best, where a lot of this is like, I'm sympathetic to the idea of shifting the Overton window, that it's important to kind of throw out these headlines and these metaphors and sell all of the gold and acquire 5 million BTC. Maybe that happens, probably it doesn't, but it kind of plants that seed in people's head about shifting the Overton window. And I'm very sympathetic to that. For me personally, it will always kind of from first principles go back to the censorship resistance, the decentralization, the self-custody, the sovereignty. I would easily sacrifice all governments buying in Saylor for that core revolution, because without that, there's really no point of Bitcoin and number up if you don't have that foundation. With that said, yeah, I support Saylor and some of these people going on and saying some of these crazy numbers and ways to buy Bitcoin.
100%. I completely agree with you. And again, the importance, I see people make jokes about this. They're like, every time Nico says Overton window, take a shot. I see that all the time in the chat. Like, guys, you have to understand how important that is, because again, like, think about where we were 5 years from. What do we want, right? We want to fix the money, fix the world. In order to do that, you have to move the Overton window. Whether you make fun of me for saying it or whatever, like, you have to do it. You don't have a choice. The way that we do that is with media. The way that we do that is by getting people to buy Bitcoin, putting it in self-custody, benefiting from number go up technology, moving the cultural needle towards worldwide Bitcoin adoption. That's really what it's about, right? Opti, I'm going to pass it on to you, my friend. What's your take on this? I mean, Saylor is just like, he's like, look, gold is a shit coin, sell it all, buy Bitcoin, go from there. Do you think he's right? Or are you on the side of David, where it's like, look, you know what? I would personally prefer, Bitcoin not to be acquired by the U.S. government. I know it might pump the price, but I'd rather, it might take slower. It might take a longer time for it to get to 1 million. But I'd rather want Bitcoin in the hands of the individuals rather than in the hands of one of the most powerful governments on the face of the planet. By the way, I'm not the only one that believes this too. There's been other Bitcoiners as well that have written pieces recently about this. Opti, what's your take?
Yeah, well, from an ideological perspective, of course, I'm in line with David here. As much as I like the narrative around the U.S. buying Bitcoin, I'm not here for, continuation of the fiat money machine or the fiat war machine. And this is why I became a Bitcoiner in the first place. Though I do like just saying crazy stuff on corporate press as well. And I love this idea of selling all the gold for Bitcoin. Though I think, we were saying earlier about the capital gains, like, I think this might be the most unfeasible route here to get budget neutral ways to acquire Bitcoin. Like, personally, from my opinion, if they dump all the gold for Bitcoin, or, analog gold for digital gold, like, that is the biggest capitulation we will ever see from any government around the world. So I don't think that's ever going to happen. And someone actually posed a really good question in the chat here, and where'd it go? And it says, playing devil's advocate, what if the world doesn't follow suit, but instead reverts back to the gold standard? We sell our gold, we go to Bitcoin, no one follows us. That's exactly what Safety's been saying for a long time. Like, the only thing that would really hamper Bitcoin adoption is if countries went back to the gold standard. But we all know they're addicted to fiat money, so that's most likely never going to happen, though there has been some conversations about that actually happening. But I don't see them selling all their gold to buy Bitcoin, though. It would be a pretty glorious day for us Bitcoiners. We'd be like, yes, we were right, we've been telling you for years, you should have listened a long time ago. But I just don't see that playing out. But hey, I love Saylor going on Yahoo Finance and being like, yeah, you want to know some budget neutral strategy? We should just sell all of our gold and buy Bitcoin. And you guys know my stance. I want to demonetize gold as quickly as possible. I want a gaudy house covered in gold. I want my own Mar-a-Lago here. So I'm all for demonetizing gold in real time, and everyone realizing that the utility of gold is better than actually using it as a money in a store of value. So hey, I'm all with that.
Need liquidity without having to sell your Bitcoin? For more than 6 years now, Ledn has been the trusted choice for Bitcoin-backed lending, with transparency, security, and trust at their core. I absolutely love these guys, and I personally have not only an account with them, but also a loan. And some of the key features that I love about Ledn is the fact that there are no monthly payments. You pay at the end of the term. You also have the ability to roll over the loan as well, and you can pay it back whenever you want. Essentially, what they do is that they help their clients unlock the liquidity of their BTC, allowing you to hodl while still accessing the wealth of your Bitcoin. They've been battle tested with their focus on transparency, security, and trust, allowing them to build a proven track record of client success and security, helping tens of thousands of clients harness the value of their digital assets with confidence and peace of mind. Learn more about what your BTC can do for you. Check out Ledn.io today.